Hello, Cancer, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 14th through the 20th. And during that time, we have a new moon that comes in on the 15th. And of course, that's a time for a fresh start. Good for new beginnings, for learning new skills, or for starting any new projects. This could be things inner, outer, whatever. Also, a time to maybe make new decisions as well. So keep that in mind when that new moon rolls around. We then have the waxing crescent energy for the rest of the week, and that's a time of heightened senses. A good time for us to start to execute those things that we've decided to work on. To start making those plans and start just getting to work and making, taking those first steps on those projects. So it's just a good time to live up to the expectations and intentions that you've set for yourself during the new moon. So please keep those moon energies in mind, Cancer, as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for the energies that you may or may not encounter. So as always, Cancer, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is that you are good enough. Every time I see that card, this will age me, but I think of Stuart Smiley and I think, and doggone it, people like you. So Cancer, you are good enough, and doggone it, people like you. As I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder this week, and it kind of goes along with the new moon, is that you do take the time to deep dive and learn something new this week. So, I feel like I learn new things every day, but sometimes you want to deep dive and do maybe 2, 3, 4 hours of a study on something that you really do want to learn. So think of something that's kind of been sitting around that you've wanted to learn, and use this, the new moon and waxing crescent energy to take the time to do it. You might want to set 2 or 3 hours aside, maybe read a book, maybe go to a lecture on this topic, maybe take a class, but kind of get the ball rolling on learning something new this week, and make it just something that you do want to focus on. So that is my fun weekly reminder for you. All right, let's get into this reading. Cancer, June 14th through the 20th. You are good enough. And your present energy is the Hanged Man. So somehow you've arrived at some sort of new perspective, or you're taking the time to look at something just a new way. This could be, the Hanged Man is, just imagine that you would turn yourself upside down. Of course, the world looks very different when you look at things that way. But yeah, so some kind of new perspective is either has just come to you, or you're kind of in the midst of that right now, looking at something through like a different set of glasses, right? Your current situation is the Queen of Cups. So it could be something emotional. It could be, our queens are about the understanding of their suit. And the queen, look at all the water flowing through her outfit here. It's just, she feels things very deeply. She and not only for herself, she understands her emotions, and that's sometimes we have emotions, and depending on your age or experience, I mean, we could, even no matter what age, you can experience things and you're like, I don't really understand why I'm feeling that. So sometimes it's good to go and really just investigate that a little bit, feel it, and then really try to understand it. And the queen would do this and understand her own feelings, but also her constituents, everyone, the people around her. So you're looking at some sort of new perspective, and it could be something emotional like that. It could be that there's something around you that you're just seeing with a new set of eyes for whatever reason. All right, at the root of your situation is the World card. So, the World card is about perfect balance. And it could be that maybe you're just in a really good place energetically right now. This is the World card is the very end of the major arcana. It's the last person that the fool encounters on his journey through the major arcana, and it is about freedom and discovery, and just things being, and just perfect. It's just really about that perfect balance. So if you're in a really good place right now, that could be why you're looking at things from a new perspective. Maybe you've struggled the last few months a little bit more, and you're finally in this good place, and you're looking back on your own journey and understanding the emotions and things, and the reason you've gotten to the place that you are. Again, you are good enough, and maybe you're just learning that. Maybe through whatever adversity you've recently been through, you're learning that about yourself right now. All right, let's see what is just behind you. Here is the 10 of Wands. So yeah, tens are endings, of course, final push through to finish something up. And again, it could just be the phase that you're in. And that's also why this new perspective comes around, that there's something for you that's just finished up. And I always say that anytime you have tens and endings, it just opens up space for other things to come in. So it could just be thoughts, or you're thinking things through. Again, you're in a good balanced place, and you might be thinking about what's next. Here we are in this new moon energy, and that could be something that you're really putting some thought into right now. All right, what is on your mind this week is the Four of Wands. So that's fun because that's some sort of celebration. This could be a wedding that's on your mind, maybe your own wedding. It could be a wedding of someone around you, or something that's coming up, or it doesn't have to be a wedding. So that's usually a wedding card, but some sort of celebration, that there's maybe something on your mind and something's coming up, and maybe it is just a good time for it, and you're looking at it from a new perspective, and you're excited about it. It's on your mind. Maybe you're helping plan something like that. And that, excuse me, can be a lot of fun. So remember, again, you are good enough. That's the overall message of your card. So if you're having some doubts in there, as you're planning or as you're working on these things for the celebration, just remember you are good enough, and get in there and do the things that you need to do, and the things that are fun. That's a fun thing to do. What is just ahead of you this week is the King of Wands. So much like the queen, she's very understanding about her suit. The king is very knowledgeable about his suit. So this is being very knowledgeable about passions, and again, not only just about your own, but also the people around you, all your constituency around you, and understanding how people are driven by certain things. And of course, if you're planning some sort of celebration, you'll have some people that are very passionate about certain things that are going to happen. And it's almost like the king sees that, and let them run with it. Let people have a good time. Imagine if you're planning a celebration, and you've got, some people are really excited about making decorations, right? And or something like it. Let them do it. If it's not your thing, or if just that's fun to delegate. Okay, you have a good time with that. I have a passion over here. And usually when you get a group of people like that, it seems to work out that there's different people that really enjoy doing different things. So understand what that is. And if you're kind of in planning mode, I don't know, you could be planning this whole thing, or you could be just someone who's helping. But remember to let those people enjoy that thing, and enjoy their enjoyment of it, if that makes sense. In your advice position here is the Six of Swords. So you are calmly, again, moving into your future. Look at these calm waters in this card. Just very calmly moving towards new thoughts, new ideas. You've got this new perspective here with this Hanged Man. Very calm, very just nice, calm energy for you this week. What is beyond your control this week is a little bit of disappointment here with the Four of Cups. So, just ask yourself why. If the universe is offering you something, or bringing you some opportunity in the emotional realm, and you're not real happy about it, sometimes, I like to say, sometimes when we say no, and we just keep saying no to something, and especially if it's something that's reoccurring, maybe stop every once in a while and just go ahead and say yes to it, because maybe it's going to lead you to something that is going to really make you happy. So when you feel like something is a little bit, and I'm trying to think, let's say that, okay, let's use this example. Let's say that there's a book that you want to read, and you go to the bookstore and they don't have the book. Well, of course, that's the universe, and there's other books there, but you're like, well, it's not really the one I wanted to read. I'm not really that thrilled about it. But here is this other book that's kind of, maybe it's the same author, or maybe it's in kind of the same realm. And you're like, okay, well, it's not really the book I want, but I'll say yes to it. Let me grab this book. And you find out that actually reading that book is what you really needed before you read the other book that you were trying to read. That for some reason, the universe is offering you this other information. And then the other book comes around and you read it, and it makes 100 times more sense because you read this other book. So I guess I'm saying, say yes sometimes, especially if something keeps coming around. Saying yes to it might surprise you, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. You might need that information, and you keep saying no, and the universe is like, no, I really want you to have this. All right, what is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid? Well, I hope it's your secret desire, because Ten of Cups is definitely happy. One of the happiest cards in the deck. Happy family. Everybody's having a great time. Cups are full. A beautiful rainbow over the whole family situation there. So I really do hope that's your secret desire. I don't know if anyone that's really trying to avoid happiness. Also, we now have two tens on the table, so you may want to look up angel number 1010. I will also say we also have 2 4s on the table, so angel number 44. And let's see what your final outcome card is the Ace of Swords. So through all of this, through this new perspective and understanding your emotions and this final push through and maybe this planning of the celebration and your nice balanced energy moving into the future and your happiness, bam, here comes an idea. Maybe it comes from that book that you did finally say yes to. Maybe it comes from that thing. And, my book was the example, but maybe there's something that you did say yes to, and it does leave you to an aha moment. Why? Because you said yes to it, even though you thought it wasn't really what you wanted. All right, let's see what's hidden from you here, Cancer. At the bottom of the deck is the Sun card, which is really another ultimate happiness card. So, I mean, wow, talk about just pouring that on there, but you're already happy. It's like you're happy enough. You've got the World card, that card. I mean, really, do you need this one too? So, but maybe you see this in your reading next week, and maybe because of this big bright idea. So remember that next week when the readings roll around and look for the Sun card. All right, let's get you a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Cancer on this reading. Ask with sincerity. Okay, and maybe that is about, again, with, something that you're planning or something that's on your mind. It could be this new perspective. Maybe you do need to ask someone about something. It could be this disappointment card. So make sure that whatever you are asking the universe for, or even someone around you, that do ask with sincerity, All right, let's get you a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Or I'm sorry, a self-care wisdom card. I already did the other one. Self-care wisdom card for Cancer for June 14th through the 20th. Okay. Self-care for you is the card that says kindness. What if being kind to yourself really could change everything? You are good enough. Be kind to yourself. Ask with sincerity. Say yes, sometimes with sincerity, even if it doesn't feel like it's the thing you wanted. It might lead you to that, right? It might be that fork in the road that just takes you down the path that you actually really want. So, Cancer, thank you so much for being here. I hope there's something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your own life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below and let me know if anything resonated or if you have questions. I'd be happy to answer those for you as well. And if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe is really a kind thing for you to do to me. So I appreciate that so much. Thank you in advance. Also, it helps you find me next week. Come on back and let's see where this story goes. So thanks so much, Cancer. Good luck with this, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.